Hello AOS fans, it's me, Pete, coming to you this week with another deck video. This week it's my Skaven versus the Farstriders, and I'm a bit concerned because I think Farstriders are designed to take out the rats. They've got some good range, which negates my manoeuvrability, and they roll a lot of attack dice, which negates my higher defense dice. Yeah, they only need swords rather than hammers, but you roll enough dice and you're going to start getting crits, and that worries me. My Skaven could get picked off easily, and there's nothing much I can do about it. So what can I do about all of those things that I think are stacked against me? Well, I can be a Skaven about it, and I can try a Ratophrane deck. Yes, Ratophrane Relics time, I'm going to have to give it a try and see how I do. The plan here is simple. I'm going to try and get all of the Ratophrane Relics out on one of my Skaven. Hopefully they'll survive. If they don't, I can res them in the last phase. I'm going to try and keep them somewhere out of reach, and I'm just going to keep trying to pile on the glory. It's sneaky, it's dirty, it's Skaven all over. So let's see how we do. I haven't actually seen any of the Ratophrane decks, so this is one I've basically come up with on my own, so do let me know if there are any obvious cards that I've missed. So let's start with the objectives as always. My first 5 cards are going to be hold objectives 1 to 5. My theory being, if I just sit on objectives and I can pretty much get anywhere, I can grab as many of them as possible and it's easy win glory. The next one is Chosen Champion. I'm going to be bunging all of my Ratophrane Relics on somebody, so I might as well get glory for having a fighter with 3 or more upgrades on them. The next one I have is Cover Ground, pretty much a given in Skaven decks. All I need is a +1 move, all the sprint cards come out, and that's one in the bag. I then have my 3 usual suspects: Escalation, Master of War, and Ploy Master. Playing ploys, playing upgrades, or doing both and getting an objective means extra glory for me. Those should be pretty hard for Robin to stop. My last 2 cards are then Supremacy and the Poor Man's Supremacy, our only way out. Grab 3 objectives, which again should be pretty easy for me to do, and I can get 3, 2, possibly even 5 glory if I get the right cards at the right time. So those are my objectives. And what am I going to use with the glorious glory I get from those objectives? Well, you already know what 6 of the cards are. The Ratophrane Relics. Hopefully I'll have someone wearing the belt, the boots, the gloves, the hood, the locket and the plate. They are going to be looking snazzy, although they are a rat, so it's going to look pretty weird with them wearing that hat. But anyway, if I can get all 6 of those relics on somebody, that could be 4 juicy glory every activation. A possible 16 glory. What's not to like about that? The other cards I've got in there are Bodyguard for a price, which I could put on Crook. That means that Skritch becomes a bit more survivable, because I do want him to survive even if he isn't the Ratophrane Relic holder. 374, which is turn my dodges into shields. Once my Skaven are rolling 2 dice each, that could be pretty tasty. Legendary Swiftness, the +1 move for cover ground, obviously. And Soul Trap. Again, this one is going on Skritch to keep him alive, because I don't want him to die. If he dies, my Ratophrane deck is probably out the window. Now that's only 10 upgrades. I'm going for a 20 card deck here because I'm going to need to cycle through it. I need to get through the whole thing just in case any of the Ratophrane Relics are at the bottom of my deck. So what are the ploys I'm going to use to get the objectives, to gain the glorious glory, to buy those upgrades and get my Ratophrane deck all together? Well, here they are. First one is Musk of Fear. Pretty much always a given in my Skaven deck. Pick a friendly fighter and put them on guard. Obviously auto inspires them as well, so that's a nice card to have. Probably putting that on a Skaven who's sitting on an objective that I do not want them to get knocked off. Come what may will be my chosen use for that card. The next one is Sudden Skittering, basically the Skaven version of Sprint. That will be useful for cover ground, but also useful for getting one of my ratties away from those guys with those ranged crossbows, and hopefully into safety somewhere else. The next one is Scratching in the Shadows, which is a Skaven version of Distraction. Choose a fighter and push them 1 hex. Well, if somebody's just a bit out of range, that'd be just peachy for me. Next one is There Is Always More. Pick a Skaven who's been slain and put them back on the field. It also inspires them, and hopefully that's the guy who I'm going to then put all my Ratophrane Relics on and stick them right at the back somewhere. Out of the way, tucked back there, nice and safe. The next is Confusion. Probably going to use this to auto-inspire 2 Skaven, but there might be other situations that I might use that in. I then got Jewel of Wits. This will help me cycle through my deck, which I desperately need to do to get all those Ratophrane Relics out. Great Concussion is another one. If I have that and I know I want to get 3 objectives, I can put my Skaven into positions where they're just off of them, and then I can use this to push everybody on at the last moment, and I'll hopefully screw Robin up a bit as well. Misdirection, always a nice one. Force Robin to put one of his ploys on somebody else rather than a Skaven who maybe I want to keep on an objective, and it also means I can hopefully spread around the inspirations onto more of my Skaven. Sidestep, an extra move. Whilst Skaven don't necessarily need more manoeuvrability, an extra move is never to be sniffed at, especially if I can res somebody right next to an objective and then just boink, sidestep on one in my end phase, or the power step as some of you might call it. Yeah, I've played this game before, don't worry. And then that's another glory for me, hopefully. And the last one is Spores of Battle. I'm going to want to play all of my Ratophrane relics, and if I'm getting choked for glory, then as many free upgrades as I can get will be useful. So that one will give me hopefully a free Ratophrane relic at some point in the game. Tactics are simple. I want to stay away from those guys shooting me with crossbows. I don't want to die too much and give up too much glory, and I just want to try and get as many of the relics out as I can as possible. The minute I get a relic, if I can put it on someone, I've then got to make a choice on who I want to put it on, so hopefully I can then get somebody who's out of the way of it and a bit safer to then start bigging up. Maybe I'll keep them in my hand for a little bit, but I do need to cycle through my deck. I'm very aware that with this deck I do need a long board if at all possible. I probably also need to make sure that I try and stay out of his firing arc, so I need to get some terrain on the field if I can. The problem with Skaven having a Ratophrane deck over Stormcast is they die easier. Stormcast can be much harder to kill, so it will be interesting to see how I get on with this. So let me know, have I picked a decent Ratophrane deck for my Skaven? Have I missed some obvious cards here? If so, do let me know, because I've not looked at any of the Ratophrane relic decks. We shall see how they fare on the field, and I shall see you soon. Bye!